Hello, my dear Christians. Today we will discuss a very interesting topic, that is Gauss law in electrostatics 2. Gauss law is very important and very familiar. First, you ask me, sir, why this law is very familiar. If anybody comes to your class in electrostatics class, he or she, if he studies in physics, then definitely he or she will ask you what is Gauss theorem. First of thing, you know that this theorem is Gauss theorem in electrostatics is very popular among the students and the problem solvers, that this is a very user friendly tool to solve the calculation of electric field intensity for a single charge or any distribution of charge. So you should clear why you read this theorem. Now to find the electric field intensity for a distribution of charge or a single charge in a very user friendly manner. In previous class also we have calculated the electric field intensity for single charge and discrete charges and distribution of charges by using the formula E is equal to F by Q. But now you will use the another formula, another statement, another theorem. First to read the statement first. What is saying? First you are taking some charges. Before going to statement, you see the figures. You are given some charges that may be single charge or maybe distribution of charges. That means you already know that if there is so many charges or single charges, they will create a electric field. If electric field is created, so by imaginary concept we know that some electric lines of force are there. If you will place some area or you will take a area, some flux will passing through it. Now you see, this is the distribution of charges. We enclose these charges by an imaginary surface. According to name of Gauss, this imaginary surface is known as Gaussian surface. Then we have take some small surface area. You see, this is the area vector. Previous class you know that this area vector is always perpendicular to the given surface. Now this is electric field intensity. Direction is in this way due to this distribution of charges. This direction of E may vary from distribution of charges. Now you see, in previous class also you have known that if you will calculate the small flux through this small surface, that formula is E vector dot ds vector. If you will calculate the total flux, then you have to integrate it. So you just imagine this is the distribution of charges. This is an imaginary closed surface. If you will calculate the total flux through this imaginary surface, that will give some value. That is defined by our famous scientist Gauss. So we will go to the statement of Gauss theorem. First statement, there are two forms. One is mathematical form, one is in literature form. First we will go to this literature form. What is this? The total amount of electric flux through a closed surface. Very word should be closed. Closed surface. Why should be surface closed? Because this imaginary surface will enclose the distribution of charges that we have discussed in this figure. So again go to the statement. The total amount of electric flux through a closed surface enclosing a charge or distribution of a charge is equal to what Gauss calculated? That is 1 by epsilon 0 times means multiplied, 1 by epsilon 0 times the amount of charge present in that enclosed surface. What amount of charge you have taken in this enclosed surface? So your Gauss theorem states that the total flux will be total charge inside this Gaussian surface by epsilon 0. So it is said to be in a language that is 1 by epsilon 0 times the total amount of charge present in this surface. Now this statement mathematically can be represented as here. Instead of total flux, we can say the closed surface integral of electric field intensity. This statement means, you see the figure, the closed surface integral of electric field intensity represent the total flux. So you can say there are two languages. Either you can say the total electric flux, you can say the total electric flux or you can say this line the closed surface integral of electric field intensity. Then the rest part is the same for both statement. Through the closed surface, enclosing charge or distribution of charge is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the amount of charge present in that enclosed surface. Here also same statement, the closed surface integral of electric field intensity is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the amount of charge present inside that Gaussian surface. Again you see the figure, I will say the two statements. Now you see this figure, this is the distribution of charge, this is an imaginary surface. So statement should be like this. Again I am repeating, the total amount of electric flux enclosing the charge or distribution of charges, single charge or discrete distribution of charge or continuous distribution of charge, is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the total amount of charge present in that imaginary closed surface, or you may call that present inside the Gaussian surface. From this statement you can also say in your language the closed surface integral. The symbol represent integration, this represent closed surface integral. The closed surface integral means total flux. The closed surface integral of electric field intensity through a surface is defined as the amount of charge present inside that closed surface divided by epsilon 0. So if in question comes write the mathematical form of Gauss theorem, you will write in this way that we have discussed. Closed integration E vector dot ds vector is equal to q in by epsilon 0. There is also another way to represent E vector dot ds vector closed integration, that is 4 pi q in. You may ask, sir, why these two difference? Now this is represented in SI system, this is represented in ESU, electrostatic unit. As in your derivation previously, you just remember electric field intensity due to single isolated point charge for CJ system, that is q by r square, but SI system, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. That's why this value is different. In SI system you can write q in by epsilon 0, but in CJ system you can also write q in. But in exam, if the question comes write the statement, you should follow this one, but this one is also true. Another way of to represent, instead of surface integral of electric flux intensity, you can also represent total flux, or you may call total lines of force. For SI system, that is q in by epsilon 0. For CJ system, that is 4 pi q in. You just remember when we discussed the properties of electric lines of force. We just remember for a unit positive charge, the number of lines of force is 1 by epsilon 0 for a 1 coulomb and 4 pi for 1 start coulomb. That answer comes from this Gauss theorem. In your syllabus, Gauss theorem derivation is not in your syllabus, in CBSE or any board of examination. But if you want to derivation, then you can through the books. Now we have to need some technical term in this Gauss theorem. We just utter the word the Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface means, you just see the figure. Here this imaginary surface, this is known as Gaussian surface. Now you think, imaginary surface in which way? There are so many ways a imaginary surface can be drawn. You just see the paper here. This is a distribution of charge here. This is the source charge plus q. I am interested to find intensity here, this point P. First I have to choose the Gaussian surface. What the Gaussian surface? Now Gaussian surface should be touch this point and it should close this distribution of charge. So one guy will come, it will like this, close the surface. Another one will be like this. Another one will be like this. So many imaginary surface can be drawn through the point P. So Gaussian surface is an imaginary surface that should touch the point where we have to calculate the electric field intensity or flux. Now question comes, so what should be the definition of Gaussian surface? So many characteristics are the Gaussian surface. First you see, first one is it is an imaginary surface. This is not a real surface, it is an imaginary surface. Second criteria, it should be enclose the distribution of charge. For this question, charge q, these are the Gaussian surfaces. Here also the same diagram here, this is the charge q, so many Gaussian surfaces are there. Again you see, first is an imaginary surface, second one is it should enclose the distribution of charge, or single charge. Third one, it should touch the point where we have to calculate the electric field intensity. This is vital because we are using the Gauss theorem to calculate the electric field intensity. So when you do the problem, first to choose the point where you are interested to find the electric field intensity. Then your Gaussian surface should touch this point. Then you will ask, sir, so many Gaussian surface will be drawn, then which one will you take? So many Gaussian surface can be drawn. You can use any one of them, but for convenience, from practice, it is seen that if you will choose a symmetric distribution of Gaussian surface, then it will be better for you to calculation of the integration. That's why in the last point it is written that it is preferable for symmetric surface. For example, if it is a single charge, symmetric surface should be spherical. If it is a line charge, then symmetric surface should be cylindrical. It is obtained from practice. So what is the Gaussian surface? First thing you can tell, it is an imaginary surface that should enclose the distribution of charge, and it should touch, this is mandatory, it should touch the point where we have to calculate the electric field intensity. Then we prefer the symmetric surfaces. Then we have to discuss, by using the Gauss theorem, how can you calculate the electric field intensity due to an isolated single point charge. In the previous class we have derived this, E is equal to beta q by r square. For SI system, beta is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. For CJ system, that is q, beta is equal to 1. Now by using Gauss theorem, we can calculate electric field intensity. Again, by using this derivation, we can also derive the Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem. If in exam question comes, obtain the Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem, so by this method you can do it. There are two steps. In first step, by using the Gauss law, you calculate the electric field intensity due to single isolated point charge. Then in second step, you can explain the Coulomb's law. So you will go to step 1. See carefully. This is a charge plus capital Q. It is situated at O. This is a point charge. Now we are all interested at the point P. We have to calculate the electric field intensity. We have to calculate the magnitude of the electric field intensity. You will use the Gauss theorem, not Coulomb's law. You will use the Gauss theorem. Coulomb's law will be derived from this law. How? Now first you see, if you will take the point P, then we have to choose a Gaussian surface. What is the basic criteria of a Gaussian surface? Now it should enclose the charge. You see, this Gaussian surface is spherical and it encloses the charge. Spherical is taken due to our convenience. In a derivation, you can know why spherical surface is beneficial to you. First, you draw surrounding the point P, you draw a small surface element ds. Then you know that area vector is always perpendicular to ds. So this is the direction of area vector, pink color, that represent the area direction of area vector. Now you see what is the direction of intensity. From the definition of intensity, you know that the direction of intensity is diverging for positive source charge. So intensity vector is outwards. So here the angle between E vector and ds vector is 0 degree. Now this is the Gaussian surface, this is the point charge situated at O. R is the distance between O and P. You can also say that R is the radius of chosen Gaussian surface. Then you will use the Gauss theorem. What is the Gauss theorem? Closed integration E vector dot ds vector is equal to q in by epsilon 0. You see the figure. What is the charge inside this Gaussian surface? Only plus q. So we have written q here. Again you see the angle between E vector and ds vector is 0 degree. So here it is written theta is equal to 0 degree. If theta is equal to 0, E dot ds by vector law it will be E ds. E ds cos 0 is equal to 1, that is E ds. And that is q by epsilon 0. Again you see this second line, E is taken outside. As in integration, E is constant. How will you know that E is constant? And you see, if this is the point P, distance R, intensity is E, magnitude. If I will take at this point, this is also distance R. So definitely intensity magnitude will be same. That's why in integration we can take an E outside. So it is convenient as we are using spherical. If you will take imaginary closed surface, irregular surface, then we cannot take an E outside. E will be different at a different point on the surface. So by using a spherical surface here, it helps in our integration. That's why while choosing the Gaussian surface, you should keep in mind what type of a Gaussian surface should be taken here. It is only remember if you do practice the problems. That here E is taken outside, no problem. Why E is constant here? Then ds, integration is S, total S. Total S means surface area of the Gaussian sphere. As it is a sphere, surface area of the Gaussian sphere is 4 pi r square. So you see here, closed integration ds total area is 4 pi r square. Then E is equal to 4 pi r square is kept here. E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. So intensity is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. That is in SI system, it is adopted as E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. If we use the CGS formula 4 pi q, then answer must comes q by r square. So you will use the SI system. That's why Gauss theorem in SI system it was taken as q by epsilon 0. In CGS system it was taken as 4 pi q. But you are always using the SI system. So this is the first step. By using the Gauss theorem, we calculate the electric field at the point P by using the Gauss theorem. Now we will go to second step. How Coulomb's law is derived from the Gauss theorem. Again I am repeating this diagram here. O is the point, plus capital Q is charge kept here, P is the point where we have to calculate intensity. From step 1, intensity is calculated 1 by 4 pi q by r square. Now you take another charge q here. If field is there, charge is there, then definitely force will be act on it. What force will be act on it? As we know that E is equal to F by Q in previous classes, F is equal to QE. This is the definition of intensity. F is equal to Q into E. Intensity value is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 constant taken outside, q into small q by r square. Now you see F proportional capital Q into small q and proportional 1 by r square. So how will you say in language? So we all can say the electrostatic force of interaction in between two charges is directly proportional to product of the charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, which is usually known as Coulomb's law. So these are the steps. How can we derive the Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem? From Coulomb's law we can also calculate intensity E is equal to F by Q. From Gauss theorem we can also calculate intensity by using the Gauss theorem. Closed integration E vector dot ds vector is equal to q in by epsilon 0. So again I am repeating the Gauss theorem statement. This is a very vital statement and very important, and next classes we will do some applications of Gauss theorem. What is the statement? Repeating again here. The total amount of electric flux enclosing the charge or distribution of charges is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the total amount of charge present inside the closed surface. Or you can say the closed surface integral of electric field intensity through a closed imaginary surface is equal to total charge present in that imaginary Gaussian surface divided by epsilon 0. Thank you all.